Going on YouTube? Just want to do a quick video here on two different things. The first one is I did an air fuel gauge on my Vic. Just so I basically can see where I'm at, fuel and air ratio mixture. Plus, it kind of gives the interior a different look to it, besides original Crown Vic style. I got it hooked up to the shut this light off to the actual parking lights to come on with it and everything. Also did an aftermarket mod on all my instrument cluster, and down here it's kind of hard to see with the light on, but that's pretty much what you're looking at. Second thing I did was had to, at night when I'd be going on like fire calls and stuff like that, or just generally driving, with my switch box for my lighting, I have all the positions for, all my lighting or whatever. And for some reason, the Code 3 doesn't have backlighting. I'm not sure if that's just because it was shorted out, and or maybe I just can't find it on the diagram. So I just went ahead and did something a little different with it, and I basically took my bezel and I made two small holes where I put two red indicator LEDs, which for some reason the one wants to keep popping out, but that's basically what I'm looking at right here. And that basically just slips down in there. Probably going to end up throwing some silicone on that just to hold it in there. And basically what they're going to do is, once the dash part's back on, they'll just shine down here, so then I'm able to see everything in my console. As far as my console, I have the a voltmeter, digital voltmeter, and a 12 volt outlet, which is to ignition. One thing I did do was I did tap into the factory lighting. So when I turn on my factory lights, the parking lights, my air fuel gauge comes on. The neons or the LED that I have under both sides of the dash, and then these lights will also come on. So basically with doing that, I brought it up and just did a quick connects. So if I have to take it off and actually remove it from the car, I don't have to keep cutting wire all the time either. So I'll go ahead and pause this real quick and get everything set back in and show you basically what I'm going to be looking at as far as final project, or final outcome, I should say. Alright YouTube, got everything back together. I ended up having to use super glue for that, to get that part to stay in, but we got everything back together. Basically, you can see the two LEDs right there that I need to face down on here. So I'll just shut that light off real quick and basically show you what it does. And then basically they just send a little bit of light. I tried it with a different LED, but it was way too bright. I didn't need anything that crazy. So became more of a driving distraction than anything. So this is actually pretty sufficient, so I know what buttons I'm looking at or trying to find, because I have different buttons for different things. Like this one would be for my right alley, that one would be for my left alley, wig wags, and then like the air horn, or the manual siren, the air horn, and then my slider switches, and then my PA volume for the PA mic. So that's pretty much that. The air to fuel ratio, I tried to ask a couple different people that have YouTube channels, and the one guy has a Vic and ended up doing it to his. Never got back to me, but if you decide that you want to do an air to fuel ratio gauge, and you go down to tap into your catalytic converter O2 sensors, and you're wondering what wire to tap into, just a heads up, it's going to be the black wire on the Crown Vics 95% of the time, if not 99% of the time. If you have more than one wire, it'll generally be the black. The Vicks have 4 wires. You have 2 heater wires, and you have an earth, as Ford calls it, but it's basically a ground for the heaters and the O2 sensor. And then the black wire is actually the O2 sense signal that sends the signal to the computer and the OBD2 to basically let you know that your car and the O2 sensor are functioning correctly. If there's ever an issue with that, it'll throw a check engine code and so forth and so forth. Basically, I'll just pause this real quick and start that up and let you see what the air to fuel does. On the Vicks, though, it does take a minute for the heaters to heat up in the O2 sensors, so generally it's not a big deal for me, because I always let my car warm up a little anyway. So by the time I come back out, you know, it's functioning and everything. But when you first start it up, it'll stay down in the red in the lean, which you'll see that. So I'll be starting that up here real quick for you. Alright, YouTube, so I got everything. I had to throw my code reader on and make sure everything was fine. Just changed the plugs, so I want to make sure there are no pending codes or anything, because I upgraded the coil packs to high performance. So basically you'll see the air to fuel gauge will just sit idled for a little bit until your heaters and your O2 plug, or your O2 sensor, heat up and are able to start reading your O2 or your air to fuel ratio. Once it does, then you're generally pretty good. It'll start bouncing around. Generally, mine's been running right in the ideal range, which is a good thing. So that's a pretty big plus. So kind of hoping it won't take forever here to run and get itself figured out. So we'll see what's going on. But really kind of liking those lights right now. I mean, granted, I have the ticket light in here, but it's kind of illegal to drive with that, so I just figured I'd do something a little less noticeable from the outside of the car. So right now it's basically just doing its little flash here and there, and so just gonna go ahead and pause this and see if we can, when the heater plugs warm up, or the O2 sensors get warmed up, and see if I'll give you a better video of that. Alright, so basically they're all heated up now, and you can see it's kind of staggering and wants to stay in between very low lean and ideal. The response generally pretty decent in it. The more gas you give it, the higher it'll go, though, evidently. So I mean, as you're driving, generally mine will just stay in the yellow. If I'm on it, it'll go in the green a little bit, but it doesn't really go much into the rich. So it really just stays in between the lean and ideal as far as when it's running. So that's pretty good. So alright, well, thanks for checking out the video. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to comment on it, and I will get back to you as soon as I can.